There's a force within you that society has never dared fully reveal. An energy so potent that when understood and mastered, it can transform not only your life's outcomes, but the very structure of your subconscious. This force isn't just desire. It's the primordial fuel of creation, the sacred fire that separates ordinary men from the giants who shaped history. Are you ready to discover that what has always been treated as weakness could be your greatest source of power? Napoleon Hill spent decades studying the most successful men of his time, and he discovered something few dare reveal. They had all learned to master and transmute their sexual energy, not to repress it, not to deny it, but to channel it with circular precision toward higher goals. This isn't an abstract theory, it's a science of human transformation operating at the deepest layers of the psyche. We live in an age of constant anesthesia. Modern man has become a slave to his impulses, seeking momentary relief in gratifications that leave him increasingly empty, more scattered, further from his true potential. Compulsive masturbation, rampant pornography consumption, the relentless pursuit of immediate pleasures. This isn't just behavior, it's programming. It's how the subconscious learns to squander the energy that should be its greatest asset. But what happens when you reverse this process? What happens when, instead of draining this vital energy, you contain it, refine it, direct it? The answer lies in the very nature of sexual energy. It's the physical expression of a much deeper force, the universal creative force, the same one that moves the stars and brings forth life from the void. When you hold your sexual energy, you're not just controlling an impulse, you're literally reprogramming the neural circuits of your brain. You're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. I am not a slave to my desires. I am the master of my energy, and the subconscious, that deeper mind that governs 95% of your thoughts and actions, begins to reorganize around this new truth. Modern science confirms what ancient masters always knew: sexual energy, when not wasted, transforms into mental vitality, emotional clarity, personal magnetism, and willpower. The brain, deprived of the easy relief of instant gratification, is forced to find new pathways, create new connections, awaken circuits dormant for years. This is the process Napoleon Hill called sexual transmutation, the inner alchemy that transforms the lead of raw desire into the gold of conscious achievement. It's not repression, because repression creates neuroses. It's not denial, because denial creates shadows. It's transformation, the conscious redirection of a powerful energy toward higher purposes. Imagine your sexual energy as a raging river. Most men allow this river to disperse into 1,000 streams, losing force, losing direction, losing impact. But when you build conscious dams, when you channel all that force into a single channel, the river becomes a tsunami. It gains enough power to move mountains, to transform entire landscapes. The man who learns to hold his sexual energy isn't depriving himself, is focusing, is transforming impulse into intention, desire into discipline, passion into purpose. And the subconscious, that primal mind that responds only to direct experience, begins to recognize a new pattern. This is no ordinary man. This is a man who masters himself. Every day you resist the urge to squander your vital energy. You're forging new neural pathways. You're teaching your brain that you're capable of transcending basic animal programming. You're demonstrating, at the most fundamental level, that your will is stronger than your instincts. And this demonstration has profound consequences. The subconscious governs not only your habits, but your perception of reality, your ability to attract opportunities, your magnetic presence in the world. When it recognizes that you're the kind of person who controls his most powerful energies, it begins to adjust you to a higher level of existence. You don't just feel different, you become different. This transformation doesn't happen only on the mental plane. Contains sexual energy radiates throughout your nervous system, revitalizing organs, sharpening perceptions, increasing your capacity for concentration and focus. You become more present, more intense, more impactful in everything you do. People begin to notice something different about you. A magnetism, a force they can't define, but that inevitably attracts them. Napoleon Hill observed that history's most successful men had one common trait. They radiated a transmuted sexual energy that manifested as charisma, leadership, and power of influence. They weren't necessarily the smartest or the most educated, but they were those who had learned to use their life force consciously and purposefully. But beware, this path isn't for the faint of heart. Holding your sexual energy means confronting everything you've been running from through easy gratification. It means facing your insecurities, your fears, your self-destructive patterns head-on. Compulsive masturbation, like any addiction, is a form of anesthesia. When you remove the anesthesia, you feel the pain that was being masked. And that's precisely where the transformation lies. That pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It points to the wounds that need healing, the voids that need filling, the potentials that need awakening. Sexual energy, when contained, doesn't just accumulate, it becomes a beacon that illuminates the deepest aspects of your psyche. You'll start to realize that many of your sexual urges aren't really about sex. They're about power, connection, validation, escaping existential loneliness. They're desperate attempts by the psyche to fill voids that can only be filled through inner growth and the fulfillment of life's purpose. The process of sexual transmutation is, in fact, a process of psychological integration. You're piecing together fragmented parts of yourself, channeling scattered energies into a unified center. You're becoming whole, integrated, coherent. And the subconscious, which operates through patterns and associations, begins to recognize this coherence as a sign of strength and competence. This recognition manifests in surprising ways. You become more confident in social situations, more assertive in negotiations, more creative in problem solving. Your ability to make tough decisions increases exponentially because you've proven to yourself that you're capable of choosing the long term over immediate gratification. Contained sexual energy also affects your perception of time. Instead of living in the vicious cycle of urge gratification guilt, urge, you enter a deeper, more sustainable rhythm. You become able to invest energy in long-term projects, to build something truly meaningful, to persevere through the inevitability that accompany any great undertaking. Napoleon Hill called this the sixth sense, a sharpened intuition that emerges when sexual energy is transmuted to higher levels of consciousness. This isn't mysticism, it's neuroscience. When you stop wasting vital energy on empty gratifications, your brain has the resources to operate at more refined levels of perception and processing. You begin to pick up nuances in conversations that previously went unnoticed. You develop an almost infallible instinct for opportunities and threats. Your ability to read people and situations becomes almost uncanny. All because your energy is no longer being drained by undirected impulses. And here's something crucial I need to share with you. If this content is deeply resonating with you, if you're feeling that inner awakening that indicates a truth being recognized, then you're ready for real transformation. But transformation requires more than intellectual understanding. It requires community. It requires support. It requires a constant stream of insights and encouragement. That's why I need to ask something specific. Subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification bell. Not as a passive observer, but as someone who's committing to their own growth. Because what I'll be sharing in the upcoming videos isn't just information. It's practical tools, specific techniques, tested methods that will exponentially accelerate your journey of transmutation. Every video you miss could be the one containing the key you need to get to the next level. Your transformation depends not only on what you learn, but on the consistency with which you expose yourself to these teachings. Subscribe now, because men who master their sexual energy are rare, and you're choosing to become one of them. The journey of mastering your sexual energy is fundamentally a journey of self-leadership. You're learning to lead yourself at increasingly deeper levels. And leadership, like any skill, transfers. When you demonstrate to yourself that you can lead your most powerful impulses, you develop the confidence to lead in all other areas of life. This confidence isn't arrogance. It's a deep calmness that comes from the direct knowledge of your own power. You know, at the most visceral level possible, that you're capable of transcending any impulse, overcoming any temptation, persevering through any difficulty. This conviction becomes part of your subconscious identity. The subconscious operates through identity. It doesn't ask, what should I do? It asks, what kind of person am I? When your subconscious identity shifts from person enslaved by impulses to person who masters their energies, everything in your life begins to align with that new identity. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to appear. People who previously didn't take you seriously begin to instinctively respect you. Challenges that once paralyzed you become stepping stones to even higher levels of achievement. All because the subconscious is now operating from a more powerful program. Sexual energy, when transmuted, also affects your relationship with money and material success. Napoleon Hill observed that men who mastered this energy had a unique ability to attract wealth and opportunity, not through magic, but through a combination of intense focus, personal magnetism, and a superior ability to perceive and act on opportunities. Sexual energy is, at its core, creative energy. It's the force that creates life. When you consciously redirect it, it becomes the force that creates everything else. Products, brilliance, everything else. Products, influence. You become a creator in the deepest sense of the word. But this creation isn't easy or automatic. It requires daily discipline, constant vigilance, and a willingness to confront the shadier aspects of your nature. There will be moments when every fiber of your being will be screaming for relief, for escape, for a return to old patterns. It's in those moments that your true strength is forced. With each successful resistance to these impulses, you don't just avoid wasting energy, you concentrate it. Like a laser that focuses scattered light into a beam, capable of cutting steel, you're focusing scattered energy into a force capable of cutting through any obstacle between you and your goals. The process also involves a gradual purification of your thoughts and emotions. Sexual energy, when not wasted, elevates the quality of all your mental processes. Negative thoughts, destructive emotions, self-sabotaging patterns, all lose their power when confronted with this refined energy. You begin to access states of consciousness that were once only occasional glimpses, moments of absolute clarity, where you can see your life and your goals with crystalline precision, moments of powerful inspiration, where solutions to complex problems emerge spontaneously, moments of deep connection with your life's purpose. These are not accidents or coincidences. They are the natural result of operating with your vital energy intact. When you stop wasting it, it accumulates and refines itself until it achieves almost magical qualities. Eastern masters called this cultivating vital energy. Western alchemists called it transmuting lead into gold. Napoleon Hill called it sexual transmutation. The language may vary, but the process is universal, the transformation of raw energy into refined power through conscious discipline and intentional direction. It's the secret behind every great human achievement, every transcendent work of art, every empire built, every movement that changed the world. And here's the deeper truth. You're not just learning to hold your sexual energy, you're learning to access and direct the most fundamental forces of creation. You're becoming a conscious co-creator of your own reality. The subconscious recognizes this shift and responds by aligning all its inner resources with your conscious goals. Your intuition sharpens, your memory improves, your ability to learn accelerates exponentially. You become an upgraded version of yourself, operating with an efficiency and power you never thought possible. This transformation also profoundly affects your relationships. When you're no longer desperately seeking validation or escape through sexuality, you become genuinely attractive. Your presence carries a magnetic quality that comes not from need, but from inner abundance. People begin to gravitate naturally toward you, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you radiate an energy they instinctively recognize as powerful and stable. You become a safe harbor in a world of scattered and contradictory energies. In business, this presence translates into natural authority. When you speak, people listen. When you propose something, people consider it seriously. When you lead, people follow. Not through manipulation or coercion, but through the unconscious recognition that you are someone who masters themselves. The journey is not linear. There will be setbacks, moments of weakness, periods of doubt. But each time you get up and get back on track, you become stronger, wiser, more resilient. Strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence in the face of imperfection. The important thing is to understand that you are engaged in an ancient war, the war between your lower self, dominated by impulses, and your higher self, guided by purpose. This isn't a war you can win once and for all. It's a war that must be fought and won every day, one battle at a time. But as you accumulate the victories, the balance of power shifts irreversibly. Your higher self becomes stronger, more dominant, more natural. Your lower self doesn't disappear, but it loses its ability to control you. You become truly free, not from human nature, but from slavery to human nature. This freedom manifests as an almost unlimited ability to pursue your highest goals. Projects that once seemed impossible become inevitable. Dreams you had abandoned come back to life with renewed vigor. You discover that you have access to levels of energy, creativity, and determination that you didn't know you possess. Napoleon Hill discovered that the most successful men weren't necessarily the most talented or privileged. They were the ones who had learned to access and direct their most powerful energies. They understood, intuitively or consciously, that outer mastery begins with inner mastery, and inner mastery begins with mastery of sexual energy, because it is the most powerful, the most primitive, the most difficult to control. When you master it, you prove to yourself that you can master anything. This proof becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. As days become weeks, and weeks become months of disciplined practice, you begin to realize that you're not just changing habits, you're literally rewiring your brain. New neural connections are being formed. Old patterns are being dismantled. Your entire personality is being upgraded to operate at a higher level. The process is simultaneously challenging and rewarding, difficult and liberating, painful and pleasurable. It's the birthing experience of a new version of yourself. A version that isn't limited by old patterns of impulse and gratification, but that is free to pursue goals truly worthy of your vital energy. We now arrive at the climax of this journey of understanding. The ultimate truth about holding your sexual energy and reprogramming your subconscious isn't technical or mechanical. It's profoundly spiritual. You're not just optimizing a biological system. You're awakening to your essential nature as a conscious, creative, and powerful being. Sexual energy, in its most refined form, is spiritual energy. It's the force through which you connect not only with other people, but with the very creative essence of the universe. When you master it, you're not separating yourself from this force, you're uniting with it in a more conscious and directed way. The man who truly masters his sexual energy isn't cold or dispassionate. On the contrary, he is intensely passionate, but his passion is directed toward purposes that transcend immediate personal gratification. He loves more deeply, creates more powerfully, lives more fully precisely because his energy isn't being constantly drained by undirected impulses. Your subconscious mind, now reprogrammed through months or years of disciplined practice, operates from a completely new program. Instead of constantly seeking relief and escape, it seeks opportunities for growth and contribution. Instead of feeling empty and needy, it feels full and abundant.